what we are witnessing today is an intense competition between the disruptors that are innovating to capture market share versus the existing enterprise trying to innovate to retain their market share.
Hello, and welcome to Martech Vibe's Digital Communication Week, powered by Vonage. Today, we are speaking with Sunny Rao, Senior Vice President, Global Sales at Vonage. He has more than 20 years of experience as a global information technology leader. Sunny also has deep knowledge of emerging technologies. Welcome to the show, Sunny. All right, Sunny, tell us, what was the biggest impact of the pandemic on the way businesses communicate and collaborate?
That's a great question, Ravi. So one of the first things that happened with COVID was clearly that businesses were very unprepared for the eventual outcome of it, and they had to respond very quickly. Businesses that were built largely on brick and mortar capabilities had to deal with the fact that they had to work with all of their employees who were remotely based. And so that was one of the challenges. How do you keep employees collaborating with each other when they are remote? The companies that were well down the path of digital transformation were more prepared. They had built their capabilities in the cloud. They were able to respond to the changes more quickly, and of course, adapt to different changes in consumer behavior. With people locked up at home, things were more at their fingertips. Their buying behaviors changed. The way they expect things to be delivered to them changed. And so it put a lot of stress on businesses, both in the way they serve their customers, but all the logistics that happens behind the scenes in servicing the needs of their consumers and growing their business at the same time. So I think you had quite a cocktail here of different issues that came right to the surface and really exposed the chinks in the armor of every business if they were not prepared and well down the whole transformation journey.
I mean, that's a very relevant point, that companies had to be prepared. But tell me, is the market ready for a united communications as a service offering?
I think companies that are going down the journey of moving to the cloud are a lot more prepared than anyone else. Can they be fully prepared? No, but what is important is the agility and the capability of how they react to the changes. It's the reaction time. Companies that build monolithic software capabilities, even if they are on the cloud, are never going to be able to tailor and bespoke the change in processes quick enough in order to meet the changes in the pandemic. And what the pandemic has really shown is that you have things open up and they shut down again. Travel opens up briefly, shuts down again. Processes change, consumer dynamics change. And all of this change just means that the businesses have to adapt very, very quickly. So if you build very monolithic capabilities inside your software stack, then you're going to be in trouble. And that's really where a lot of our API business has really come to the surface, because these APIs have allowed our customers to really make the changes on the fly and really adapt to those changes. And what it's also meant is that the businesses that we service have been able to be where our consumers are or where their consumers are, rather than saying, how do I figure out how to bring my consumer to the only channel that I service properly? Let me do that. So the organizations that used a lot of our API capabilities and had that agility built into their processes were able to turn this around and really go and be where our consumers are.
I want to dig deeper on the solutions that you talked about. So how are your solutions bringing engagement experiences to customers through channel initiatives?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when you look at any business, it has its normal customer journeys that they go through. There is the acquisition phase. How do you acquire consumers or customers to your business? How do you, help engage them? How do you retain them? How do you service them? Broadly, those are the four categories. In order to do that, our APIs have always helped, and really we are a communications API company. And so we've helped right at the front end of the journey with the acquisition process. So what does that involve? So if you're going to get a consumer who is now very remote, right? They're not in your store, they're not physically present in front of you, you need to start with authenticating and identifying who they are. We have a range of APIs that help our customers build that capability into their business process. So when I enter a website, how do they know who I really am? Or is it just another robot attack or sign up? So those are some of the capabilities that we bring with our APIs that connects presence, which is your IP address online, your location, which means your cell phone, and we get a lot of that location data as well. Are you in the same country as your IP address? Is it something different there? And other telco characteristics. What kind of customer are you? Are you prepaid? Are you postpaid? Are you using a virtual number? Are you using a real number? How long have you been on that using that number? This kind of data to really reduce the risk of acquisition. Why is that important? Take the example of many of our customers who are in micro lending or in payments. That is a very risky business. You don't have credit scores in micro lending that are available to you. And so you're giving out loans that are less than $100 in most cases, or you're doing buy now, pay later, which is really a rage at the moment. And you're trying to check out of an e-commerce store, and you have this option that says, I want to buy the product now, but I will pay for it a little later. Then you don't have credit scores. So how do I bring in the risk minimization capability there in order to either approve or disapprove that transaction? So let's say you've done the acquisition really well. Now you have the engagement. So you're engaged with the customer. How do you serve them the right information at the right time in the right channel? When consumers are largely working from home or remote areas, they are using a completely different dynamic. They may have access to multiple devices. They may be only on their phone when they are in their living room, but when they're back in their office or home office, they're on their PC. How do you maintain the continuum of conversations that they are having with a brand from either one of those devices or either application? So our whole conversation API really stitches together the same customer who may come at different times in the journey through different channels. And those channels increasingly are, our messaging channel, our social chat channel, or they could come through the voice. So all of these are available to our customers to use as APIs and bring that in. So then you go through the support aspect of it. So you've purchased something, you're now getting it delivered. How do I give you a great experience to let you know that we're delivering something to you tomorrow? So you're not calling the contact center to say, where's my product? One of our customers like Aramex does this beautifully within the application of choice, which in this case is all a social app, WhatsApp, where you get notified of when is your product coming. You can change the delivery times, do the rescheduling, and really it saves them a ton of money because in most cases in logistics, it's the last mile delivery that's the most expensive component, and having to retry is a burn on the business. So these are ways in which we provide these APIs, and you can create bespoke experiences. At the end of the day, that's really what businesses are trying to do: create really bespoke, tailored experiences, make it as personalized, as flexible, as intelligent as possible to service their consumers.
That's a great point. And to be very honest, I have myself experienced Aramex, so I can completely understand where you're coming from. You touched upon robots and you touched about intelligence. So I want to understand, what is the impact of AI on communication?
Yeah, great question. And again, AI is used in many ways, and it's a very broad subject. To a large extent, the conversation, we do a lot of work within the channels to tailor experiences. And there's a lot of AI capabilities that are brought into it. We also use a lot of AI in learning about patterns that we see with all of the traffic that we handle. Is there a preponderance of risk? Are there more fraudulent activities that are happening somewhere? Is there a particular time of day where things happen a lot more compared to something else? So we do a lot of this machine learning behind the scenes in order to deliver the best service experience from our own cloud platforms. When we deliver to our customers, there's a lot of AI capabilities that are brought in many cases with our partnerships that we have. For example, around the world, and we started in Spain, we did a number of our COVID notifications, as well as the updates of information using a chatbot that was built using our APIs, as well as our partners' chatbot capability. So this is an area where AI came in. In a number of other countries, we are also doing the same capability using voice, for example. So today, in countries like Australia, we are powering all of the notifications for patients who have been tested positive for COVID and going through their daily regimen to see how they are doing. There's not enough staff to look after all of these patients when they are quarantined to look at their well-being. So that's where we use an AI-powered system from our partner to actually go and have that conversation with those patients. Similarly, Aramex uses a lot of AI in its own platform, in the bot platform, for its deliveries and scheduling and rescheduling. Do you want it delivered home? Do you want it delivered to your office? When things have opened up. So these are all capabilities that we have powered using AI, but we're also using AI a lot now in our video channel. And you and I are doing this conversation virtually over a video platform, and there's a lot of capabilities that we bring in the video experience itself. Take the example of telehealth. In telehealth, which we have been powering with many of our customers like Doctolib as well as Babylon, there's the integration with a lot of other devices. So when we are trying to send the audio readings of a stethoscope from a remote Bluetooth connected stethoscope over to the remote doctor, there is a lot of work that's happening to make sure that we're removing all the noise around it. How do we provide background blurring capabilities when people are at home? We may be having some of these backdrops here, but sometimes you just want another backdrop. So how do you bring that capability so that you don't have the blurring of the edges when you're talking? So there's a lot of machine learning that's going on behind the scenes. And that's really the beauty of AI, is that we make it so transparent to the consumer that they don't know that there is something like that exists. This plays a fantastic role in the handoff between a bot and a human. You really shouldn't know who you're talking to. Is it a bot or a human? And we do that with our APIs by leveraging the capabilities of the bot, some built by us, many built by our partners, as well as that seamless transition with all of that history back to a human being, so they can continue exactly where you left off and don't have to repeat themselves. So that brings you a great experience.
And talking about great experience and talking about the smooth transition between a bot and a human, it's all about personalization. So how do you really empower brands to offer exceptional personalization?
Yeah, again, great question. So if you look at what we do with our APIs, is we give an extensible amount of data in terms of usage back to the applications which use our APIs. So if I'm a brand and I'm servicing 5 countries, let's say, my business process, even for logistics and delivery, could be very different. In some countries, I prefer to do it using a WhatsApp as a channel. In other countries, depending on the criticality of it, I may need to resort to voice because you're not reading the notification that I just sent you, but it's critical. So I need to get hold of you through a voice call. So just that's a very simple example of how we help prioritize it, to say that you can build rules rapidly within your application that says, I tried to reach out to Sunny here. Sunny didn't read his message in 3 minutes. This is time sensitive. Let me escalate that to a voice call. Similarly, when you're on an inbound interaction, so you reached out to a brand and you may be having a conversation on the website with them, and they need to show you something because they're trying to solve the problem. Maybe it's a repair that's happening in your home for a device, or it's an insurance claim like what one of our partners is doing, Yamio is doing, which is helping insurance companies, because of all of the impact of COVID and distancing, that something breaks in your house, you want to show the surveyor what's broken. Now, how do you escalate that from a voice call that may have started immediately to a video call, or you may have started as a chat session? Let's escalate that to a video call. So the ability to transition channels without missing the context is really important. And that's what we help our customers with. Now, when you have had that interaction, they have all of this data, so they can build suggestive capabilities. So next time I make a call, I can say, look, I'm calling in because I need to change my address, for example, or I need to order a replacement. And immediately it can flip and say, look, why don't we use another channel where you can just send me a photograph of the product with its serial number that you're trying to replace, or send me a photograph of your identity card with the new address and we will update that. So you see, this is how we're flipping between these and helping build more proactive experiences that transcend communication channels.
That's truly interesting. So to finally wrap up, you're operating in a very rapidly changing market. How do you continuously innovate and offer new services and products?
I think we have a very diverse and geographically spread workforce. That's a very important aspect, especially with travel restrictions. That becomes even more important. We are very close to where our customers are. And that's the first component. So we are able to have those local conversations, understand the local cultural nuances, as well as the local regulatory requirements, and therefore really suggest the solutions that actually can be implemented rapidly. Second, we have domain knowledge, and our domain knowledge comes from this whole collective of industries that we are servicing around the world, and our ability to train our workforce about the trends that are happening in different parts of the world. Today, our teams, for example, in Dubai, know everything that's happening about our customers in France or in Indonesia or in America or in Brazil, because we build that knowledge system inside the organization to disseminate it. Lastly, we have a really great feedback mechanism that comes from our customers as well as developers who are using our APIs. We tap on both of them to help shape some of the requirements and the deliveries from our own product portfolio so that it meets the needs of these companies. Many of these developer ecosystem partners, as well as our customers, provide feedback in our advisory council, and they tell us where they are headed to. And that allows us to make sure that we are delivering the capabilities that are the most relevant to their requirements. So those are some of the ways we continually innovate and keep looking at the trends of this the industry is headed to. And of course, there's a lot of material that we read and interact with industry forums and analysts that also tell us what's happening around the world, and we really are clued into making that. But again, I would sum it up by first saying we put our people very close to where our customers are, and we listen to our customers who tell us a little bit about what their plans are and their challenges are.
Great. And it's always about the people. Thank you so much, Sunny, for this insightful discussion. I truly enjoyed our chat, and hopefully we'll catch up soon in person. Thank you so much for supporting Martech Vibe's Digital Communication Week, and we look forward to working with you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.